Hi everyone, thank you for joining us on our Thursday TNT. Quick look around some of the main news stories in Thailand. One story we're doing later asks a pretty serious question, and I'll ask it of you now. What are you going to do for your retirement? I'm not just talking about today when you may be relatively fit and well, but later. If you're going to stay in Thailand, the Thai government aren't going to be looking after you. You're going to have to look after yourself. And I wonder how many expats that think that they're going to be living in Thailand for the rest of their lives have really thought about this. Or if you have to go back to your own country, what possibility do you have of having some sort of ongoing good quality aged care? So I think this is a good question to be asking, because a lot of us just put our heads in the sands and think, we'll worry about that tomorrow. But tomorrow, for many of us, is getting a lot closer than you think. You've probably got fewer days ahead of you than you had behind you. So this is something that I think we might discuss in greater detail on the Saturday program, but it's one of the articles we'll get to in today's program. But as we alluded to yesterday, there was going to be a new Senate. Now, this is a pretty pivotal moment in Thai politics where we have an elected Senate. Rather unusual way of electing the Senate, but elected nonetheless. And the list of new senators has finally been certified. This is from Thai PBS World. The Election Commission finally certified the list of 200 new senators and 100 reservists. So they've got some spares as well, following the last round of voting on June the 26th. The senators-elect are required to receive their certificates from the EC today and tomorrow, so they can report to the Secretariat of the Senate. And the EC Secretary-General told reporters the announcement was made after they're determined that the election process was implemented legitimately, according to the law and with fairness. They received about 800 complaints filed with the EC. Investigations into those complaints will continue. So some of those 100 spares may indeed find their way into the Senate as those investigations continue. Let's go to another version of this story. The BangkokPost.com reporting new senators get ready to work as the probe continues. And one of the existing caretaker senators said that the 250 senators appointed in 2019, hand-picked basically, by the military-linked government were supposed to stop performing their duty now that the results were official. And the Secretariat of the Senate said the inaugural session of the new upper house would be scheduled shortly after its members report next Monday. And 18 complaints about the election process on voting days were submitted to the Supreme Court, which dismissed all of them. And the applications of 1,917 people were rejected before the voting started, while more than 600 were disqualified because they did not meet the qualifications required. And Reuters taking a slightly different approach to this report. Thailand announces new Senate replacing army-appointed lawmakers. And they report that analysts say that this could make it harder for the embattled ruling Pheu Thai party to govern. They say the new upper house will not have a role in voting to approve who becomes the Prime Minister. And it's that particular role in the last Senate which prevented Pita Limjaroenrat from becoming the Prime Minister and Move Forward Party forming a government. So the colour and the cut and perhaps even the political allegiances of these new senators is yet to be tested. There have been some reports that a lot of them have political connections with some existing political parties, particularly the Phumjai Thai party. But this is largely a media invention until we actually get to see what happens when votes are counted on particular issues. And that's yet to be seen. So just casting my eyes out onto the Andaman Sea, probably not the best day we've had here. It was raining a bit overnight. But Five Star Marine have an innovative project. It's called the Captain's Choice. So if you're booked to go somewhere, you arrive at Boat Lagoon, you say, hey, I want the Captain's Choice, and they can take you out onto Pangar Bay. They've got all the weather radars and stuff. And no matter how bad the weather might be, they can take you somewhere where you are still going to get a very pleasant day on a beautiful beach or island in Phangan Bay. So when you next see Sean, or if you're inquiring with 5-Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com, ask Sean and the team about Captain's Choice. So let's go to a bit of argy-bargy in Pattaya overnight. Foreigner knocks out Kuwaiti tourist in Pattaya, police launch hunt. So as far as we know, the perpetrator's still out and about. The article says a foreign man in Pattaya allegedly assaulted a Kuwaiti tourist, leaving him unconscious. Police are hunting for the suspect as of press time. And this all happened at 5:30 a.m. yesterday in South Pattaya on Soi Yansabai. And the perpetrator, believed to be Middle Eastern, arrived at the scene in a black Pajero with several companions. He confronted the Kuwaiti man and a brawl ensued, resulting in the victim getting knocked out, lying on the ground. Mr. Sompong, he's the witness, said the fight also involved a woman. The video depicted both parties engaged in a struggle over a Thai woman, followed by a fist fight. The perpetrator placed the victim in a chokehold, repeatedly punched him until he became unconscious and collapsed. The injured man regained consciousness, ran away, but the perpetrator pursued him, with around 10 companions followed closely behind. And investigators are currently gathering evidence from the witnesses and CCTV footage to apprehend the foreign suspect. Well, you've got beaches, you've got plenty of great restaurants, lots of young ladies that are happy to talk to you, and you get around with this sort of nonsense. Let's hope those violent perpetrators are found and can assist police with their inquiries. As we head to a couple of stories, which I suppose you could put under the heading of Russians behaving badly, remembering that Russian citizens are one of the most numerous groups coming to Thailand over the past 18 months, and they usually get their lion's share of the headlines as well. And starting with this one, a Russian gang leader caught in Bangkok for 30 million baht passport forgery. Now, we have been talking about scams over the past week, and this, of course, goes under that particular list. Of course, if you want to do anything with your passport, if you need to get a new passport, go to 1, your embassy, or 2, a highly trusted agent. You don't go to Facebook and find somebody offering new passports. And immigration police arrested a Russian man, a leader of a gang forging and selling passports of 15 nationalities, including the US, causing damage valued at over 30 million baht. And they arrested Artem, 44, a Russian national, not sure if 44 is his age or the amount of kilograms he's overweight, for producing counterfeit passports, either in whole or in part, selling counterfeit passports and importing counterfeit passports. The investigation uncovered that this passport forgery network openly advertised on applications such as VK, Telegram, WhatsApp, and through websites, claiming they could produce passports for 15 nationalities, asserting it was a legitimate citizenship application process. And payments were made through digital currency accounts again, and they had established a company in Thailand to increase credibility. And some victims did not receive any passports, while others received forged passports sent by FedEx from the Dominican Republic. And there were individuals in the Dominican Republic who received orders to produce fake passports from Artem and were responsible for advertising, communicating with all victims, and managing the money received from victims. On to Russians behaving badly, number 2. This one may be Russian behaving rather cockily. Russian man attempts to bribe Koh Pha Ngan police with a 1 million baht bribe. And the article starts with a Russian national in Koh Pha Ngan was attempting to bribe officers with 1 million baht to avoid charges, but they were there for a different reason. Apparently, he was working without a work permit, renting out motorcycles advertised on the Telegram platform, and they had the name of Bike Phangan Samui Rent Sale. And the arresting officers were told by other Russians that Mr. Chervenko was allegedly an influential figure in Russia. They charged him with working without a work permit as a foreign national and exceeding validity period of his visa, in other words, overstaying, by 175 days. Apparently, during the arrest, Mr. Chervenko offered, "Officer, how about this? I'll give you 1,000,000 baht in exchange for my release. I'll call a friend to bring me the money within 20 minutes. Then it's all over and you can go home to your families and enjoy a nice meal together." All said while leaning against the wall with your legs crossed. And the tourist police said, "Yeah, probably not." And the gentleman then gave the media a bit of a thumbs up as he walked past. Not quite so sure if he's going to be so cocky in the next few days. Looks like he's got quite a few issues he's going to have to sort out with the police. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the program, something that we're all going to have to contemplate if we're going to stay living here in Thailand is how we're going to cope with our retirement. Not so much when we're healthy and thinking clearly, but when we are, well, less able to move around, needing a little bit more medical care, and perhaps not thinking as clearly as we do now. This is something that I'm going to have to think about, and I'm sure many of you as well. Prompted by an article in Pattaya Mail today, retirement homes in Thailand strictly for the well-heeled. Private companies are now getting seriously involved in upscale residences for retirees. Now, it used to be if you came to Thailand and you were thinking of looking for some sort of retirement home, that the pickings were fairly slim. There are now a lot more retirement facilities being set up, but many of them are quite expensive. And we'll look at some of the costs in this article. And in Thailand, there are approximately 800 homes covering both the public and private sectors, which will need to be dramatically expanded during the present decade as Thai citizens inevitably become less independent. And expat retirees in Thailand too, as they age, can face serious problems once their health deteriorates. The lucky ones are cared for by their Thai families or even find charitable accommodation in Thai religious foundations. And some care homes say their monthly price starts at about 20,000 baht, but there are many additional charges, things like all medical services, transport, meals apart from breakfast, games, special help for mental deterioration, and these extras can push the monthly bill much, much higher. And the best care may require a budget as high as $2,000 a month, and that's some 60 or 70,000 baht. Even without significant surgical procedures. And expat retirees, even if they are to be taxed on assessable cash, whether remitted or part of their worldwide income, will not receive any state subsidy. And elderly foreigners are present in Thailand under a multiplicity of visa arrangements. Although no reliable statistics are available, most, except for the handful with the long-term resident visa, do not have comprehensive medical cover. Now, this is a problem for a lot of retirees who don't have medical insurance or health insurance or adequate health insurance, and in those cases they're probably going to have to self-fund any medical care or medical procedures, and a lot of people have done that in lieu. And a Thai lawyer and a visa specialist puts it this way: Thailand welcomes retirees from all over the world, but expects them to fund their own care from insurance or cash as they inevitably decline. So let's use this article in Pattaya Mail to kick off a discussion for our Saturday program, but a few things to think about because, as the article says, this is something we're all going to have to face if we decide to stay here in Thailand. Now, thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with some of the things happening around the country. Have a fantastic Thursday, and we'll do it again tomorrow.